Aham, Ibeleme here with a quick tutorial, a short quick tutorial on how I edited this image. I recently posted this image and it's been getting a lot of attention, and people have been asking me how I edited it and also how I shot it. Okay, so I've put together a diagram, a lighting diagram of how I shot it. So this image was shot using 3 lights. Okay, so there's a main light and there are 2 rim lights. You can see the lights on the sides of the model's body, and even on her hair around here. Okay, so my main light was the Einstein, a pulsib of Einstein, and it was in a fairly large octabox, the Elinchrom Rotalux 53-inch octabox, and it was directly overhead. Okay, so it was right about there, a couple of inches from her forehead, pointing directly downwards. Over here, right, just outside the frame, was the reflector. That's that guy. It was right on her knee there. So what that did was bounce back uh, the light coming from the octabox, just to expose for her neck area and chest area. And then I had 2 other lights behind her. So that guy was there, um, with an orange gel attached to it, and the other one was to her right, behind her as well. So those 2 lights shot light at the model, and that's why it was what's it called? You can see the light effect on her arms. Okay, and then I created smoke between the model and the rim lights. I just burnt up a few sheets of newspaper that I had in my studio to create that smoke. I didn't have an actual fog machine, so I had to create that with newspaper. Okay, so it's fairly DIY, if you like. All right, so that's the lighting diagram. Fairly easy. Just 3 lights and that's it, and a reflector. All right, so let's jump into editing the image. Okay, so that's the before and that's the after. Okay, so that's where we're going. All right, so let's jump in. Now the first thing I want to do is clean up the image. So I'm gonna clean up just this few spots on her face. I'm gonna do that using my spot healing tool. If I zoom in just a little bit, and that's that. Next, I'm just gonna take off a few of these stray hairs that are somewhat distracting. Just a couple of them, not all of them. This one's so fine. Okay, that's fine. It looks good. All right. If we go down her body, it's all fine. Let's get this guy. Okay, that looks good. All right. The next thing I'm gonna do is take my patch tool and take out that light patch there. I'm gonna take it out because I know that it's going to sort of leave some irregular patches when I get around to doing frequency separation. Okay, looks good. Excuse me. I'm gonna take out, there's a dark patch there, I'm not sure if you can see it. but I can see it clearly. I'm just going to circle there and pull it down there. Circle there, pull it down there, and that's looking good already. Okay, right. Next thing I'm going to do is smoothing out her skin. Okay, so I have a couple of actions for frequency separation. Now I have a tutorial, an online course that's dropping soon. Be sure to get it, because I teach a lot on, or I talk a lot on how I do frequency separation, my technique for doing frequency separation. Anyway, these guys are just numbers, and when I click on any particular number, Photoshop does its thing and it evens out the skin texture. There are a couple of numbers because depending on the skin texture you're working on, sometimes the lower the number, the smoother the skin, and other times the higher the number, the smoother the skin. So it depends on the skin texture you're working on. Anyway, check out my tutorial to see how I use these guys. Anyway, I'm just gonna, I keep saying anyway. Cool. All right, I'm just gonna hit 33. Photoshop is gonna do its thing, and it's gonna present me with 3 layers, with the topmost layer having a black mask. So I'm just gonna click on that mask. I'm gonna select my brush, and I'm gonna make sure my foreground color there is white because my mask is black. And I'm just gonna paint on the model skin. So skin only. Okay. You will notice that I'm not painting into her eyes or her mouth or her nostrils. It's just where I have skin. So if I quickly do it before and after for you, so that's before and that's after. Before, after. All right. Okay. So let's move down to her upper body. If I zoom out just a little bit there. Let's get her arm. I have no idea why my pen is so loud. You can hear me brushing. Anyway, all right, so that's before, after, before, after. That looks good. Okay, so that's we're done with frequency separation. I'm just gonna hold Shift and select all 3 layers, and I'm gonna hit Command E or Control E on your Windows machine to merge all layers. Okay, so now let's go ahead and tone this image. Let's go into color grading, and I'll show you how I achieved that look, that golden bronzy look, if you will. Okay, so let's do again, if you check out my online video course to find out how I go in depth in color grading. Okay, so I'm gonna select my color lookup as I have, and then I'm just gonna select my color lookup that I created. It's named, oh no, it's named AIP. AIP is an acronym for Aham Ibeleme Photography. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set the opacity of that layer to 30%. Excuse me. Okay. Now I'm going to add another. Okay. All right, let's do Now this color grade that I've added here is I want it on just the model skin. So I'm gonna bring back my color on the smoke. I want it just on her skin, so that's fine. All right, I'm gonna add another color lookup, and this time I'm gonna choose legacy black and white. Okay, and I'm gonna do a 22% on that one. Okay, again, I want it just on her skin, so I'm gonna bring back my surrounding colors. All right, that looks good. Now we're gonna add contrast, so brightness and contrast, and we're gonna do a, let's see, 30, yeah, right about there, that's fine, 37%. And now let's go in and let's hold on a bit on the color toning and enhance her makeup. Okay, first thing I want to do there is whiten her eyes, sorry. So I'm just going to select my black and white. I'm going to invert that by hitting Command I. I'm going to toggle that to white. If I zoom into her eyes, I'm just gonna simply brush inside her eyes. Okay, I'm gonna get her teeth as well. Now what I'm gonna do next is reduce the opacity of that layer because, you know, she's looking a bit zombie-ish. So let's do 60% of that. All right, that looks good. Okay, so now let's go in and enhance her eye makeup. So I'm just gonna do, all I want to do here is darken this smoky eyes thing that the makeup artist did. So I'm gonna select my bond tool. Let me just take my exposure down to 30. Let's see. That's all I'm doing. Okay, looks good. Now I'm gonna increase my exposure, and I just want to accentuate her eyelashes. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce my brush all the way down and simply do that. See, all I'm doing is tracing out her eyelashes, just simply oops, it's too much. I'm not tracing out every single one of them anyway, just a few of them. Okay, all right, and then I'm gonna reduce exposure to there, and then I'm just gonna accentuate her eyebrows a little bit. So I'm just tracing out a few of them, a few of the hair strands. Okay, All right, that looks good. Now the next thing I want to do is, I notice her eyes are looking a bit, I should say weak. So I'm just going to bring a little more life into her eyes. So I've selected my exposure, my dodge tool, sorry, and I'm just going to simply bring up the highlights in her eyes. That's the reflector, by the way. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna bring out the top one, which is my octabox. There it is. Okay, looks good. Let me just pin back. Oops, nope. Okay, I'm just making it whiter anyway. All right, that looks good. Yep, looks good. Okay, so final part. This is where we, this is where we get that bronzy, the golden look, sorry. So I'm just gonna go into my hue and saturation. Okay, I'm gonna select my color picker there, and then I'm gonna hold Alt and sample that yellow smoke. Okay, you select your color picker, you hold Alt, and you simply click there. And I'm just gonna move my hue a little to the left. So if I do, say there, okay, and then if I move my saturation to the right, so okay. Okay, there it is. So if we do it before and after, before, after, okay. One quick thing, I'm gonna go back into my dodge tool, and so if I reduce my exposure to say 21 thereabout, I'm just gonna highlight her highlights. So I'm just gonna click on her cheekbones there, just to give bring more definition to her face. Okay, yeah, that looks good. All right, so the final thing I want to do here, something that I do to all my images, is add a grain. So I'm not quite sure where I got this grain, but I've had it for years now, and it's just the one particular grain that I've used in all my images. Okay, so I've copied it from some other image of mine, and I'm just gonna paste it there. Okay, and it's set to 50%. Okay, so that's the final touch. It just sort of gives your image this Vogue-ish type look, filmic look. Okay, and that's basically it, guys. That's it. All right, thanks for watching.